Hello, everyone. Good evening, and it is a Sunday night, about 7:30 p.m. here in the Eastern Time Zone. Remember that going back to daylight savings time. Oh gosh, sorry. Tomorrow morning after 2 a.m. So make sure you either set back your clocks or moving forward or whatever needs to be done. So make sure you do that. But remember, Arizona and Hawaii, you don't have to do any of that. And that one part of Indiana, I think, still applies somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, I just came from Charlotte's Night Star of the Werewolf. Agent Charlotte Night Star now is her channel name. And that was a great stream. So thank you, our beautiful niece Charlotte, for hosting again. Mom for being there. Lizzie Armstrong for being there. My buddies PvP, Sif Dan, and Brother Jay and Brother Larry were all there. DJ Play Nice was there. And Cyberpunk Dystopia, Johnny, he was there. So, yeah, appreciate all of you being there for that wonderful stream. So now we have to wait 2 weeks, and then Charlotte will be hopefully on the 15th of November. She'll be interviewing my brother Larry as a podcast, and then she'll be hopefully on Sunday also doing a podcast with Ezra Carter, our friend from Hollywood. And as for myself and Suzanne here on our ChattyBloggerMS channel, we hope to get two more 1v1s at least in place, two more streams before the end of the year. I wanted to do one with Charlotte and another one with Sifdan because we have done the ones with Larry and we've done the ones with and prayers still up for Larry and Diane and everybody, so please. And we've done a 1v1 with Curtis, and we did the 1v1 with Brother Jay, so which all turned out well. So, but we got two more planned for next month, for December. Yeah. So the next one will be with Charlotte, our niece, and then the final one for the year should be with Sif Dan. So, yeah, we should be good with that. Okay. So we're going to do this early. We're doing the next two episodes in the continuing shows here for both Get Smart and TOS. And today we are working on episodes 25 and 26, reviews quickly of each show. And then hopefully Wednesday, I think what I could do is do like an every 2 days sort of thing. So, like I'll be off, Monday, Tuesday. I'm gonna put myself on hiatus from Gorilla streams for now. Um, so just kind of, nothing bad going on. Just want to take some time off. Wednesday I'll come back for episodes 27 and 28 or whatever episodes are next on the agenda. So that would be Wednesday sometime. And then the same thing Friday, and then again for Saturday or Sunday. Sorry, for Sunday. So every 2 days, I'm going to try I'm going to try this as an experiment to see if I can, try to get plenty of rest in between and do it. So yeah, so that's what we're looking at right now. Yeah. So this week, after today, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Yeah, because there aren't a lot of streams going on during that time. I can't do Saturday because Saturday I've already got a commitment with my brother Chance Bartels to do the post Halloween part 2 nostalgic pod blast that we're gonna do that Saturday afternoon at 5:35 p.m. Eastern. So that should be fun. Yeah, and then the Sunday one's a toss up because next Sunday is our traditional meal that they give us every 2 weeks. So yeah, we want to be there for that. So yeah, we'll do that. But maybe we'll do the reviews early morning Sunday or maybe later night Sunday. So it depends, and we'll see how that follows. But yeah, that's pretty much our plans for now. I do want to get these two shows completely done, so that next year, um, like I said, I've got something special planned, And I won't reveal that until January 1st, as I did previous, where I did a big reveal on the 1st. And it's going to involve two very sweet people in our community family, and we're going to be doing something that I don't think a lot of shows do. At least three different subjects, yeah, three different subjects that we'll be discussing at different times of the year that I don't think people have ever done before. And so, yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, right now, let's go ahead and Get Smart here first. And yeah, as I can see, nobody's initially in here, but my meal is still warm. It's too hot, so I gotta wait a few minutes. So I figured I might as well do this now, and then when I can eat it. So let's see here. All right, so in Get Smart, we have episode 25, season 2, which is called How to Succeed in the Spy Business Without Really Trying. That premiered, it first aired on Saturday, March 11th, 1967. And in this episode, Max's archenemy Siegfried, played by the wonderful Bernie Kopell, rest in peace, wants to defect. And it is a top-rated episode, according to the IMDb viewers. It got an 8.3 out of 10, which is a big B from them. I gave it a B plus because I think it's a great episode too. I gave it a little bit more of a plus grade, one step up there. So yeah, a B plus for me. Let's see. Yeah, so we'll do that one first, and then we'll talk about the next one after that. So, okay. All right, now on this episode, Gary Nelson is the director. Arnie Sultan, who took over from Buck Henry uh, and Mel Brooks, is the writer, along with Mike Marmer, Marmer, and of course the usual cast of characters: Don Adams, Barbara Feldon, Edward Platt, and let's see, Starker, of course, played by King Moody. And Agent 74 appears in this episode, played by Mark London. So, and we already talked about Bernie Kopell as Siegfried. I don't know if we did talk about Starker, played by King Moody, but we will, yeah, but we will take a look at him. And yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at those two gentlemen after we get through our trivia component. Okay, this was King Moody's first appearance as Starker, or Starker. The accounting firm of Price, Stern, and Sloan is a reference to the name of Leonard Stern's publishing company. The award ceremony is filmed on the same set as the chief's office, redressed to look like a small lecture hall. The title is based on the movie and musical of the same name, but a variation on the name. It's called How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying in 1967. The original Broadway production of How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying opened at the 46th Street Theater in New York City on October 14th, 1961. It ran for 1,417 performances, and it won the 1962 Tony Awards for the Best Musical and Book, and then it was nominated, but it didn't win for Best Score. So that's why they did this episode. Kind of cool. Okay. And we do have a couple factual errors for the goofs, and we have one character error. So in the factual ones, the chief orders all available agents to assemble at Fort Knox to head off a chaos attack. However, if Fort Knox were attacked, there would be no need for Control to send in agents, as it would be defended by the over 30,000 heavily armed soldiers stationed there. 99 asks Siegfried about the sash he is wearing, saying she was unaware he was from royalty. This prompts him to note that it is covering a hole in his shirt. A sash, properly called a reband, is not a mark of royalty, but rather a receipt of certain important awards and decorations by any individual of any class. 99 may have become confused as the Wearing of formal decorations is uncommon and thus only routinely observed among royalty. Okay. And then in the character error department, for the award for Best Karate Judo Control Chief, Max says the winner is Suzuki Sakamoto, but in the credits it shows Frank Kumagai as Ishimoto. Okay, that's a big mistake there. All right, no soundtrack. And let's see. Of course, it's filmed at that wonderful studio named Paramount. There you go. All right, let's take a look at the cast and crew. And we'll look at King Moody. And like I said, and then Mark London, who plays Agent 74. All right, here we go. All right, we did lose King Moody, unfortunately, in 2001. He was born on December 6, 1929, in New York City, New York. He was an actor known for Teenagers from Outer Space in 1959, Quantum Leap in 1989 series, and Get Smart in 65. He was married to Jacqueline Larson and also married to Rachel Rosenthal. He died on February 7, 2001, in Tarzana, Los Angeles, California. He was only 71 years old. All right, in 1959, he was the spacecraft captain. And his full name actually is Robert King Moody. So that's what he went by in the credits. And that was the Teenagers from Outer Space. Let's see. Okay. Now, according to Get Smart, he has appeared. This was his first appearance, but he has appeared as either Starker or as a chaos scientist and other roles. And let's see here, just going quickly through. He did one episode in season 1, episode 20, All in the Mind, where he played a role of Markovich. In season 2, he was Kirsch in the episode 1 of that season, Anatomy of a Lover, and then the one we're talking about today as Starker, his first appearance. In season 3, episode 7, he was a chaos scientist in one of our Olives is Missing. And then back as Starker in Spy Spy Birdie, episode 22 of season 3. Episode 4, or season 4, I'm sorry, he did appear as Starker in 4 episodes. The titles were Snoopy Smart versus the Red Baron, Schwartz's Island, The Not So Great Escape, Part 1 and 2. Yeah, so that's very cool. And then finally in season 5, his last appearance as Starker was on Ice Station Siegfried, which was episode 13 of season 5. So, King Moody. All right. And in 1989, he did appear in one episode of Quantum Leap with Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell playing the AI Owl. And he was a Southern senator in an episode known as Honeymoon Express, April 27th, 1960, is where, Sam Beckett went back. And that was the first episode of season 2. So that was the premiere episode of season 2. Very cool. Okay. And then in 1989, he did the Get Smart movie that came out, the TV movie as Starker, Get Smart Again. And yes, we will talk about that movie. We'll talk about the 2008 reboot, complete with Steve Steve Carell and Anne Hathaway and Alan Arkin and Dwayne The Rock Johnson. So we'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about, before that, we'll talk about the 6 episodes that they did on Fox, which brought new Get Smart, and that had Andy Dick as their son. And we will talk about those too. And according to the information here, in 1992, the last thing that King Moody worked on was called The Nut House, Nutt, the way it has it spelled. And in that, he played Victor Kaplan. That was his role in that. So about 9 years before he died. So rest in peace, King Moody. All right, now we're going to take a look at Mark London. And Mark London, unfortunately, we did lose him in 2010. Not only was he an actor, but he was also a writer, and he worked in the script and continuity department. He was born September 30th, 1927, in Boston, Massachusetts. He was a writer and actor known for Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In 67, The Muppet Show in 76, and Sinatra and Friends in 77. He did die on February 9th, 2010, in Hyannis, Massachusetts. He was only 82 years old. He did win one Primetime Emmy. He worked on from 68 to 73 as a writer. He worked on all 99 episodes there for Laugh-In. In 77, he was the writer for Sinatra and Friends. That was a TV special. 22 episodes he worked on The Muppet Show as a writer from 76 to 77. And as we said here, he appeared in 3 episodes during season 2. He was in The Mummy as Agent 24, and of course he was in this one and as Agent 74. And then in a let's see, yeah, next week, or I mean this coming Wednesday when we do episodes 27, 28, he's in A Man Called Smart Part 1, where he is Ashkenazi. That's his name in that. So those were the 3 episodes that Mark London premiered in. So very cool. All right. And the last thing he did work on a video, he was the writer for It's the Muppets, Meet the Muppets in 1993. So he was a big, huge Muppets writer. Very cool. All right. So rest in peace there, Mark. All right, let's get back to our next episode, and which is episode 26, Appointment in Sahara. And this premiered 2 weeks later on March 25th, 1967. Over 197 people voted a 7.2 out of 10. And I agree with them, so I think it was about a C. This is where Chaos tries to blackmail the world when they get an atomic bomb. It was directed by Don Adams, and I think this was the first time he got to direct a Get Smart episode. And the writers were Gary Clark and Arne Sultan again. And, of course, the usual cast of characters. We did talk about Vic Tayback. We talked about Stacy Keach Sr. Let's see. Let's see if we have a picture. All right. Well, it looks like we have... it looks like we have one person we can talk about. So just one here. Ahmad, played by Peter Mamakos. Sounds like a great name. And then Larrabee, played by Robert Carvelis, came back. So he was also in this episode. So this is cool. Don Adams getting to direct this one. Yeah. And in the previous episode, as I said, only 214 people had viewed it, but they gave that really high grade 8.3 out of 10. And of course, I gave it a B plus. So the previous one, a B plus, and this one, a straight C. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the trivia. This is the only episode of the series written by C.F. Lamoureux not to be about Jaime the Robot. The title is a play on the title of John O'Hara's 1934 novel, Appointment in Samara. And Huntley and Brinkley were the national news anchor team on NBC, the same network as Get Smart. And this is the first episode of the series directed by Don Adams. He directed a total of 13 episodes. So I think his directorial debut was not so hot, like I said. But as he got more and more into the series, he started to direct a few more episodes here and there. They did get a lot better. So, yeah, his directorial debut was not the best, but that's okay. That's cool. All right, and let's see on this one. Okay, we don't have any goofs. Okay, so we're all right on this one. And of course, Paramount Studios. Okay, so this one's very quick. All right, so let's get to Peter Mamakos. Okay, we did lose Peter Mamakos in 2008. He was both actor and a writer. He was in the movie The Heart is a Lonely Hunter in 1968, among other things he did. He was born on December 14th, 1918, in Somerville, Massachusetts, and he's known for the Ten Commandments with Charlton Heston in 1956. He also worked on Drums of Africa in 1963, and he worked on The Adventures of Superman in 1952 in that series with George Reeves. And he died on April 27th, 2008, in Paso Robles, California. He was 89 years old, so he had a good career. And he plays the chief driver for the Egyptians in the Ten Commandments in 56. And then he did, let's see here, he worked on 3 episodes of The Adventures of Superman. In season 2, episode 6, The Defeat of Superman, he was Happy King. In season 3, episode 13, he played Markel in an episode called King for a Day. And finally, on season 5, episode 1, he was Gregor in Peril in Paris in 57. So, very cool, from 53 to 57. And then, let's see, in 1961, in a brief TV series called The Investigators, he did write for 1 episode, which was the very first season 1 episode called Murder on Order, which was the story. He worked on the story for that. And then in the movie Drums of Africa in 1963, he was in that movie. He played the role of Chavera. All right. And last but not least, in 1999, he worked on a TV miniseries called Lucky Chances, where he played a Greek priest. And yeah, and that was the first 3 episodes of season 1, which was the miniseries. So, yes, Lucky Chances. Oh, and he did work on 1 episode of Airwolf in 1984. He was Harry Dove LeBeau in an episode from season 1, episode 7, called Fight Like a Dove. That was the one with Jan Michael Vincent and Ernest Borgnine. So very cool. Alrighty, well, Peter, rest in peace. Okay. Alrighty, so let's see. So on Wednesday, as I said, I'm going to work on episodes 27 and 28 of Get Smart. One is called Pussycats Galore, and then the next episode is called A Man Called Smart, Part 1. Now we may do 3 episodes because I usually don't like to leave anything that has 2 parts. So we may go ahead and add on just for that one, because TOS will keep the same 2 episodes from their season 2. But this one, yeah, I may just go ahead and do both part 1 and part 2 of A Man Called Smart. Yeah, episode 29. All right, very cool. All right, cool. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get to TOS, the original Star Trek from 66 to 69. And let's see. Yeah, we're doing episode 25 and 26 of that from season 2. So let's take a look at that. All right, let's see here. Yeah, perfect. There were 26 episodes in season 2, so that worked out perfectly. All right, so see, episode 25 is Bread and Circuses. That's awesome. That first aired on Friday, March 15th, 1968. And then 2 weeks later, on March 29th, 1968, was Assignment Earth, which would have been what do they call it? A spin-off of TOS, and that would have featured Gary Seven and his secretary, played by the great Terry Garr. So, yeah, we're going to take a look at that. And I'm going to see where Terry is today, if she's still around. And, of course, the guy that played Gary 7 for that one. Okay, so let's see. Before we get into that, we have Jay Aldridge. Thank you, Jay. Brother Jay. Brother Jay. He says, "What are you doing, brother? Leanna here, Daddy Mikey. Love you and Mama Suzanne. Oh, yeah. Oh, Get Smart. Yes. I love the Naked Bomb movie that Don Adams did. Yeah, we're going to talk about that one too. And the Get Smart Again movie. Yes, sir. Yes, brother. We're gonna actually do. We're gonna. What we'll do is, after I've covered all 5 seasons of the original series, we'll go right to the movies. So we'll do the Naked Bomb, the Naked Bomb, right? With Get Smart. Then we'll go to Get Smart Again, and then we'll go uh to the 6 episodes after Get Smart Again. We'll go to the 6 episodes where they had the new Get Smart, which featured Andy Dick on Fox and on the Fox network. And that only, like I said, that only lasts about 6 or 7 episodes. So we will cover all 6 of those on 3 different days, and then we'll go to the 2008 Steve Carell and Anne Hathaway reboot. Yeah, we'll talk about that real quick. So yes, that's going to cover all of Get Smart for that. So yes, we will cover that. We got one like, yay! And we got 2 people watching. I know my wife is there too. Mwah. So Brother Jay and my wife, that is so cool. Oh, hello, Kevin. Hello, Kevin. Let's see here. Oh, I'm sorry. Jay did say I love 99 and the Jaime the robot character actor. Yes, that was Dick Gautier. Yeah, he's no longer with us, but he did the voice of Rodimus Prime, right, for the 3rd season of the Transformers. And Kevin says, "Hey, Mikey." Kevin says, "Hey, Jay." And Kevin says he's waving. And congrats to your Dodgers, Kevin. They did it, man. I didn't even think they were going to come back, and they did. And wow, yeah. So congrats on you there, sir. Okay, so let's get to the first episode we're covering here, Bread and Circuses, and the Enterprise crew. Hold on for just a second. I gotta clean my. There, let's do it this way, and then I can. Yeah. Yeah, let me get this thing out so I can clean my glasses. They get so fogged up. After tonight's stream and live stream. That was hilarious, but it was fun. I'm so glad we were able to talk to our niece this weekend. Okay, so in Bread and Circuses, the premise is that the Enterprise crew investigates the disappearance of a ship's crew on a planet that is a modern version of the Roman Empire, complete with television and news and everything else. That ranked over 3,700 people, ranked it a 7.0 out of 10. So I gave it a C plus. I'm not right there at the straight C. I think I do enjoy some moments that are there. Plus, they do explain the Christians that eventually they were the ones that followed Jesus Christ back then, and I thought it was the sun worshippers, and I thought that was pretty cool. And they were saying, no, they weren't worshiping the Son. They were worshiping the Son of God, right? Jesus Christ. So very cool. Yeah, so I give that a C plus on that episode. So we'll go to that one first. All right. Okay. So Ralph Sinensky was the director. And along with Roddenberry and Gene L. Kuhn, John Newbull, Kneubuhl. I hope I pronounced that right. He was one of the additional writers on this episode. And of course, the usual cast of characters. We had, Shatner, Nimoy, Kelly. Let's see, who else is there? Scotty, Uhura, Chekhov. Very cool. Okay. No Sulu in this episode. as far as I can tell. All right, so we're going to look at Merrick, who was played by William Smithers, and Claudius, who was played by Logan Ramsey. Those will be the two gentlemen we'll take a look at. All right, so let's look at the trivia and go over the first 5 important bits. Okay, the caves where the children of the sun hide out are one of the most used locations in television and movies. In addition to being the entrance to Batman's TV series Batcave from '66, they are also seen in Invasion of the Body Snatchers Kung Fu series from 1972, which featured David Carradine, and various police and western shows. They are located right below the famous Hollywood sign. Cool. The coat of arms are on the clothes of the proconsul Claudius Marcus is William Shakespeare's. Okay. One of several parallel Earth plots in the series contrived to save money by avoiding the necessity for alien sets, costumes, and makeup. The title Bread and Circuses is a translation of panem et circenses, an ancient Roman metaphor for people choosing food and fun over freedom. It first appears around AD 100 in the satires of Juvenal, which also provided the title of another Star Trek production about 20 years later, Who Watches the Watchers in 1989. The Jupiter 8 car was actually the reactor, a custom aluminum show car designed by Gene Winfield and completed in 1965. The reactor was based on a 1956 Citroën DS chassis and was powered by a Chevrolet Corvair engine. It also made appearances in Mission Impossible from '66 and Bewitched in '64. Okay, and there are 2 spoilers, so you know what to do. Near the end, Proconsul Claudius Marcus stabs Merrick in the back to make him unalive, and the knife is covered in blood when withdrawn. Though common in TV dramas today, this was quite unusual at the time. And the runaway slaves say that they worship the sun, but they are referring to the Son of God, not the sun in the sky. However, on closed caption, when the slaves talk about the sun, it is spelled S-U-N, not S-O-N. Okay, it's good to know. All right. Of course, we're not doing the goofs, so let's take a look at the soundtrack. Should be the same one. There it is. Sung by Lily G. Norman and credited to Alexander Courage. And we'll take a look at the filming and production. Okay. And this episode was filmed on stage 31 and 32 of Paramount Studios, but it was also done on location at Bronson Canyon Griffith Park at 4730 Crystal Springs Drive, right there in Los Angeles. So very cool. And the filming dates were September 12th, 1967 to September 20th. So it took 8 days for that. Very cool. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and take a look then, first of all, here at William Smithers. And William Smithers, believe it or not, folks, is still alive. He worked on a movie called Trouble Man as one of his appearances in 1972. He was born July 10th, 1927. So he is the ripe old age of 98 years old. So we're all hoping that in 2 more years, if he's still around, he could reach 100, just like they did for June Lockhart from Lost in Space. And remember, Eva Marie Saint is 101 years old still, and she's still around. That's so cool. All right, so the real brief bio here, although character actor William or Bill Smithers is not recognizable perhaps by name, the face is definitely familiar, especially to baby boomer TV fans. A smart, articulate, well-groomed actor with noticeably premature gray hair. Smithers is probably best remembered for his on-again, off-again role as arch-villain Jeremy Wendell, who frequently crossed paths with J.R. Ewing on the Dallas TV night soap opera series 1978, from 1981 to 85. And Trekkies, avid Trekkies, will also remember his role as Captain Merrick in the original Star Trek series from this episode, Bread and Circuses. So very cool. All right. Let's see. A couple things he's known for. He worked on Trouble Man. Like I said, his role in that was Captain Joe Marks in 1972. He was in the original Papillon with Steve McQueen and the wonderful Dustin Hoffman as Warden Barreau or Barrett. Well, it's Barreau because it was French, but Barrot. But that was in 1973. All right. And as we said, he was Jeremy Wendell in 50 episodes of the Dallas TV series from 81 to 89. And in Executive Suite, which was the TV series from 1976 to 77, he appeared as Anderson Galt in 18 episodes of that series. And last but not least, before he retired, he worked on Walker, Texas Ranger as Milo Crane in that TV series with the great Chuck Norris. And he was on season 3, episode 9, which was called Payback as Milo Crane. Milo Crane. There you go. So that is the mini bio of 98-year-old William Smithers, actor. Very cool. Alrighty. And then we'll look here at Claudius, played by Logan Ramsey. And unfortunately, we did lose Logan Ramsey in the year 2000 at the ripe old age of 79. He was born 21st March 1921 in Long Beach, California. He was known for the movie Walking Tall in 1973, Part 2 Walking Tall in 75, and Scrooged, that wonderful one with Bill Murray in 1988. He was married to Anne Ramsey, and we all know Anne Ramsey from Throw Mama from the Train, among other things. Yeah, she was very good. He died on June 26th, 2000 in Los Angeles. Like I said, it's 79. So in both Walking Tall films, he played John Witter, 73 and 75. In Scrooged, he was the man in the shelter. That was him there, yeah. And in 88. And from 1982 to 85, he worked in 2 episodes of Knight Rider with Hasselhoff. He was first in season 1, episode 8, called No Big Thing in 1982 as Judge Roland S. Paxton. And then he reappeared in season 3, episode 21, called Night Strike, where he played the role of Edgar. So from 82 to 85. All right. And the last thing I see here for him, he did a movie short called The Clock in 1999, where he played Sherman. And before that, he was in Murder, She Wrote with the wonderful Angela Lansbury, where he played Judge Robert Henley in 1991. And it was from season 8, episode 6, called Judge Not. So there we go. And that is Mr. Ramsey. All right, cool. All right. So before we get to our final episode for tonight, which is Assignment Earth, let's take a look at the chat here. Oh, well, thank you, Gorilla. I love you too. Let's see. Let's see here. Oh, you're welcome, Kevin. Thank you, Mikey. All right. So Jay Aldridge says, "Hey, brother Kevin and brother Mikey. If I don't watch the games, the team that I like wins. I don't know why, but it always happens that way. I'm sorry, brother. Water under the bridge. It's over, so don't worry." Did Charlotte and I in PvP make your classes steamed up? Yes, you did. No, my wife did because she's sexy and I love her. She helped. So yeah, it wasn't just you guys. My beautiful wife helped out. She kissed my neck. She did everything. Oh, she always gets me steamed. Yep. Jay says you missed a great stream, brother Kevin. And of course, Gorilla says, "What the fuck? Did some guy attack you with a weed whacker or a weird whacker?" No, sir. I promised people. I said that if the Jays were not able to finish the job, I was going to cut off my beard, and I did. I cut my whole mustache, whole beard, everything. Yeah, I'm not very good at that. So if you think I hacked it with a weed whacker, you wouldn't be too far off there, brother Gorilla. And it's good to see you, my friend. Kevin says, "Hey, Gorilla." Hey, Kevin from Gorilla. And Jay says, "Yes, Jeremy Wendell. Yes, he was awesome. JR and Bobby got him arrested for good. Yes, yes, he was good. He was good. Yes. Okay, let's cover our last episode for tonight, which is Assignment Earth from Season 2, Episode 26. And while back in time, observing Earth in 1968, the Enterprise crew encounters the mysterious Gary 7, who has his own agenda on the planet. And 7.5 out of 10. So a lot of people gave it a C plus or a B minus. I went ahead and gave it a straight B because I really liked the episode. Over 4,200 people gave it that grade, and over 3,700, as I said, gave a straight C to Brendan Circus's 7.0 out of 10. So I agreed with that. So Brendan Circus's got a C from me, and Assignment Earth got a B from me. So yeah, very cool. And yes, we will talk about the man who played Gary 7, which of course Robert Lansing, and we will look at Terry Garr, who played Roberta Lincoln. Okay. And this was directed by Mark Daniels, and along with Gene Roddenberry, Art Wallace was the writer for this episode. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trivia. Okay, so while at the launch base and showing his ID to the security person, Mr. 7 shows a National Security Agency credential card. The NSA was one of the worst kept government secrets, but was not publicly acknowledged until nearly 25 years after this episode originally aired. Spock mentions all the events which are to occur that day, the date the Enterprise has traveled back in time to in the 20th century. Among the events mentioned was an important political assassination. As it turned out, there were ultimately two important political assassinations in 1968, just 6 days after this episode aired on March 29th, 1968. As you know, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Was made unalive in Memphis, Tennessee. That was April 4th, 1968. And then 2 months later, on June 6, 1968, Senator Robert F. Kennedy was made unalive in Los Angeles, California, on the night that he won the California Democratic presidential primary. Coincidence? I think not. Okay. The script called for Isis the cat to make various cat sounds on cue, meows, purrs, and growls, etc. Since finding appropriate real cat sounds for the soundtrack proved problematic, the director discovered that Barbara Babcock, who was hired to do the voice of the Beta 5 computer, could vocalize convincing cat sounds. That's cool, Barb. Right, this episode features one of the first uses of stock footage of the first test launch of the Saturn V moon rocket in November 1967. And Gary 7's computer display is the same one used as Dr. Daystrom's M5 computer in the Ultimate Computer episode from 1968, as well as being used by Mr. Atos the librarian in All Our Yesterdays, which came out in 1969. Okay. And we have 3 spoilers and a cameo. In March 2019, the team from Larry Nemechek's podcast, The Trek Files, identified the actress playing Isis in her human form as April Tatro. Some older sources incorrectly named Victoria Vetri, who always denied playing the role. This story served as a backdoor pilot for a proposed new series. Gary 7 was an Earthman from the future who had been sent back in time to combat the Omegans, an evil alien people who'd mastered time travel. However, the pilot didn't sell and was never made into a television series. Captain Kirk's comment, "I'm sure they'll have many interesting adventures together," refers to the Assignment Earth series that never materialized. Gary Seven and Roberta Lincoln would have been up against aliens called the Omegans who had mastered time travel, and they would work to make sure mankind achieved the glorious destiny that Gary Seven's alien masters intended it should. To this end, Gary Seven's office computer would have had the ability to turn back time and cancel out any damage that had been done by the Omegans in their attempts to alter Earth's history. Okay. There is a cameo. Bruce Mars, who played Finnegan from Shore Leaves episode in 1966, can be briefly seen as a New York Police Department officer. Very cool. Okay. So we're not doing any goofs, as I said. And of course, the soundtrack is the same. And, Alexander Courage and Luigi Norman. And let's see. And of course, there was a few stock footage locations: Manhattan in New York City, Cape Canaveral in Florida, and the B-roll, which has the ground workers, was filmed right there in LA. And then the other, and then in Paramount Studios at stages 31 and 32. And the filming dates for this was from January 2nd, 1968 to January 10th, 1968. So 8 days for filming this episode. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at, like I said, Robert Lansing and Terry Garr. Okay, we did lose Robert Lansing in 1994. He worked on both soundtrack and as an actor. He was in the Vampire Hunter movie from 1988 as one of his many roles. His tall stature, tough looks, and commanding manner belied an often thoughtful and introspective screen personality. Not that acting had necessarily been Robert Lansing's only career choice. There had been jazz. As a youngster, he played drums with various dance bands and was bitten by the acting bug after performing in and directing high school plays. He was winning the Southern California Shakespearean Festival for Dramatic Acting award at the age of 15. And then came 2 years of Army service in Japan, where he worked in the Army there. He was born June 5th, 1928, and he did die on October 23rd, 1994. So he was only 66 years old. Okay. In 1959, he worked in the movie 4D Man as Dr. Scott Nelson. Then he did the one episode as Mr. Seven here in Assignment Earth in 68. In 66 to 67, he worked on 18 episodes of the TV series The Man Who Never Was, where he played two different roles, Peter Murphy and Mark Wainwright. And then he did appear in 29 episodes of the Equalizer TV series from 85 to 89. And in that, he was Control. And according to IMDb background information, he played the role of Paul Blaisdell in the reboot of Kung Fu, which was called The Legend Continues, which ran from 93 to 94, and he was in all 25 episodes of that year that it rebooted. So very cool. Yeah, that featured David Carradine. He came back, but then his son helped him, who he was helping out as a cop. So yeah, that was very cool. So that was Robert Lansing. All right, now we'll take a look at Terry Garr. Okay, we did lose Terry Garr last year in 2024, unfortunately. She worked on soundtrack, actress, and of course, additional crew. Kablooey in 2007 was one of her feature films. She was nominated for one Oscar. Terry Garr was able to claim a career in show business by birthright. She was the daughter of Eddie Garr, who was a Broadway stage and film actor, and Phyllis Garr, a dancer. While she was still an infant, her family moved from Hollywood to New Jersey But after the death of her father when she was 11, the family returned to Hollywood, where her mother became a wardrobe mistress for movies and television. While Gar's dancing can be seen in 5 Elvis Presley movies, her first speaking role motion pictures was in 1968. Okay, so she was born December 11th, 1944, and she died last year, October 29th of 2024. She was only 79 years old. Okay, so in the movie Tootsie with Dustin Hoffman, she appears as Sandy Lester. She appeared in the Mel Brooks comedy Young Frankenstein as Inga in 1974. She appeared with Michael Keaton in the movie Mr. Mom as Caroline Butler in 1983. And she appeared with uh, the guy from Jaws. Uh, Help me out here, honey. Um, who was that small actor? He can't. Darn it. Okay, hold on. She played Ronnie Neary in 1977 in that. And that was the one with Richard Dreyfuss. That's it. Thank you. And Francois Truffaut. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Cool. Alrighty. And then according to careful, honey. According to IMDb, in 2011, her last role was Lindsay's mom in the TV series How to Marry a Billionaire. Okay. So that was the career of Terry Garr. Rest in peace, Terry. We miss you. Alrighty. Okay, so let's see. All right, so next week, I should write this down. So let me get my pen out of here. So we're all done for these. So this coming Wednesday,